come to the bold analysis. Bold magistrate is telling the police and is condemning their conduct over the death of Albert Ojwang, accusing them of turning police station into a torture chamber and a morgue, and using patrol vehicle as a hearse in what appears to be a disturbing cover-up. He is blasting the security agencies, citing the relevance of deep investigations to unearth what exactly is happening in a very cryptic presentation that compares with George Floyd case in the United States of America. So in this podcast, we look at that outburst of the judge and why his call is legitimate for those investigative agencies to avoid picky-ponky games and tell the country the truth. But before that, we are at the home stretch, the last mile of these boys, responding to these boys' distress. Since Tuesday, we're responding to Stephen case. Stephen is a firstborn son of Eunice. Eunice is a lady we helped here in March, but unfortunately, Eunice passed on. And after she passed on, that was some weeks ago, 2 days later, the firstborn son got stroke. Probably it was due to all that. But remember, this is a 15-year-old boy who was informed to. So I dispatched my team who have been in Sia for the last 4 days so that they could take him to the hospital, and he was taken to the hospital Aga Khan, where he's actually going through the medication. So I was supposed to be there by today, but because of logistics challenges, because I also have to go with the wheelchair, I did not manage. But tomorrow I will be in Kisumu very early in the morning so that I can also just put up, take to him the wheelchair and also look through the treatment process that is supposed to take us 6 months. Stephen had also developed bed sores, so needed a lot of support, clinical support, just to make sure that all that is managed. I want to tell you that one thing I've established from the doctors is because of the condition, the medication is going to span for long. But my dream that after some time, even if it takes that 6 months, the boy will rise up in his feet and go back to school. And in this foundation, we'll make sure tumemsomesha. Alikuwa kwa form 2. And kindly, thank you very much for supporting. We normally say, hapa kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. And I believe your support will go towards ensuring that kijana is up and walking. Without much ado, let's take a minute and listen to this judge.
I had to draw some similarities between the Albert case and the George Floyd case of Minneapolis City of Minnesota, US, which was decided. But my concern is not the merits of that case, but the issue of what is public interest case, whether it has similarities with the case we have now. And I found so many similarities because it was declared a public interest case. One of the similarities I found in that case was that George Floyd of the US died in the custody of the police, and Albert Ojwang also died in the custody of the police. So they share that similarities. Another second similarity I found between the Albert case, based on what is in the affidavit, together with the George Floyd case, is that both were alleged to have committed misdemeanors. Misdemeanors means not serious cases. For George Floyd, he was alleged to have given a forged USD note of 20 USD notes to buy some cigarettes. And Albert's case was he's alleged to have published false publication on the media. So I found they are similar. Another issue that I found between the two cases is that both of them, there were demonstrations which was sparked as a result of their death. I found in the US there was mass demonstration, which even extended to other countries. Albert case also found, and we all know, that there is some demonstration in town, not only Nairobi but other places, as a result of it, because of what was done. Another similarity found in the case of George Floyd of the US is that there was a narration made by the police, especially the officer who attacked him and nailed on his neck until he lost his breath. One Derek Michael Chauvin said that he died as a result of taking some painkiller. So they had to doctor the report. Also found the Albert case, the narration by the police was that he knocked himself against the walls of the cells. However, also, when the postmortem was done, it was to the contrary, that this person died because there were injuries, spontaneous injuries, head injury, and especially from the neck where blood was oozing out. Also in George Floyd case, there was another report given Dr. Tobin. Dr. Tobin also brought out the report which contradicted the narration by Derek Michael Chauvin that he had taken a painkiller. That report said actually he died because of neck compression. So we read the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13 to verse number 18. I'll read specifically numbers from 16. It says, "For the Lord shall descend from heaven with a great shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the triumph of God. And those who are asleep shall rise first. And we who are alive and remain shall be joined with those who have risen first in the clouds to meet the Lord, and forever shall we stay. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words."
One thing you can take from him is he also feels remorseful. So many other people that have been interacting with this case, but until he even cited a Bible verse to comfort the victims. That shows you, and the other interpretation from his call is that we are not just investigating for the sake of justice. We are also investigating. They are also vouching for the probe to bring it to its logical conclusion so that it can unmask what looks like deep lying devil in the police system. It is a shocking coincidence that when people are protesting Albert's death, a police officer is seen shooting someone in public, in broad daylight, in front of the cameras. It stinks to a bigger devil. I don't know whether the devil is the word, but that is it in the police sector. And I think that magistrate got it right, that this is a highly profile public interest matter that you cannot just handle it that way. And I want to demonstrate to you something here, just to show you how we are playing games. The investigators around this team, this issue is playing games. DCI is currently investigating IPOA over the situation because what happened, Taalam, the central OCS, handed over his phone to IPOA for some forensic analysis. Then, just 2 days ago, Danstan Omari went to court and said that Taalam was complaining that despite of his phone being under the custody of IPOA, some messages are being sent to solicit funds to some people in his network, some of his networks.
The letter to the DCI was received.
Swala la utumizi wa simu ya mshukiwa wa mauaji ya Albert Ojwang, Samson Taalam, ikiwa mikononi mwa maafisa wa IPOA, limezua tumbo joto katika kesi inayoendelea. Katika kikao cha leo, mawakili wa Taalam waliambia mahakama kuwa simu hiyo iliachwa mikononi mwa mamlaka hiyo na hivyo uchunguzi unaofanywa na DCI unafaa kuangazia mamlaka nzima.
The password was submitted to the commission, not to an individual. We expect the offices of IPOA to be a crime scene. The DCI knows that better.
Upande wa mashtaka ulipinga kauli ya wakili wa Taalam ukisema maafisa wawili wa IPOA walioshuhudia kuchukuliwa kwa simu ya Taalam wako tayari kutoa ushahidi wao na kusisitiza hakuna aliyehitilafiana na simu hiyo.
This phone has never left the chain of custody form, envelope. You know, having given that background, and again, the two officers are available should the court direct that they get to the dock. It is our belief that this matter is subject of investigations by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations.
And he raised questions, and today, IPOA was brought to court. Now, DCI is probing IPOA. Come on. I think when I did this analysis yesterday, I didn't have the full view of what is going on. So I spoke exclusively with an advocate on this matter, and I questioned this. And this is the kind of feedback that I was getting. That someone, and my good advocate told me, this is impossible. Impossible, why? And this is something that cannot be taken lightly. Remember, even the magistrate was saying that that looks like a diversion. Remember, DCI is now probing why Taalam's phone is being used to send messages, while IPOA is also supposed to probe who killed Albert. Now, what should be investigated, honestly? What should be investigated? It's about Albert's death. Now, someone is investigating DCI. You can see the kind of games going on. So this is what this magistrate is saying, and maybe you can agree or differ with him. This is what he's saying with her. This phone has incriminating evidence of how Taalam allegedly spoke with his bosses. And this one is in reference to affidavit by James Mukhwana, Constable James Mukhwana, who released an affidavit saying that he received instructions from the OCS, who had also promised immunity from the big boss. So this magistrate is saying even someone within IPOA, no one can dare handle that now. Because if you do that, then that is clearly interfering with what is called exhibit. Interference. And so, because he is ruling out the merit of that as to whether that is true or false, because remember, we can't judge, no one has brought us the message. His story here is this could be an inside plan to achieve 2 or 3 objectives. Number 1, DCI posturing to be investigating IPOA looks like an intimidation tactic. Yes. Remember, the first press briefing that was issued, IPOA and DCI were standing at Central Police Station issuing a joint statement. And one thing you need to know is that DCI is above IPOA. So he's saying it's 2 things. It's an it's intimidation, or also just meddling. Number 2, even if it is true, it can still be staged, and someone is creating bottlenecks to derail the case. Someone is creating something else to investigate instead of investigating Albert's murder. And this is something that cannot be taken lightly. And if it is also so, then IPOA is the investigator. The other objective, because IPOA is the investigator, by someone going to court and telling a judge that the person who is investigating is tampering with the phone is to show that the investigator is compromised. So that, for example, and her question is clear, how will the prosecution trust IPOA looking at what they have done? Remember, after IPOA are done with the investigations, they are supposed to go to DPP straight, because it is DPP that is supposed to prefer charges. It's supposed to check the threshold. After investigations, you must go for DPP for approvals. So wataangalia waone kama imefika threshold ya kwenda kufunga mtu, kwenda open a file for someone. And according to my good lawyer, a very good subscriber here, he's saying this story doesn't look true. I don't know what you think about that. But the other observation I wanted to make is Opondo Kaluma's tweets. Hey, I'm telling you, kusema tu kweli, kama kuna mtu, sometimes you wonder what's wrong with the country is Opondo Kaluma. Whether sometimes that man is ever serious or not. I want us to look at his two tweets. Today, I'm just trying to open it. Let's start with this one. A country where endless activism prevails is a country that cannot progress. You go to the streets then. We can't allow activism to thrive as if it were an enterprise here. Kenya has institutions charged with various roles. Let's petition them to act and hold them accountable. Let's not allow organizations, local and foreign, to incite chaos on the streets of Kenya. In the name of right to demonstrate, all rights and freedoms have limits except the three spelled out in Article 25 of the Constitution. There speaks a man who was also leading protests under the Azimio la Umoja. So someone might even, under Raila, someone might even ask, so when they were leading protests, didn't they know all this? That there are institutions that are, and remember, the protest is also does not, the enjoyment of one right does not render the other one irrelevant. I'm not a lawyer, but then that is it. Enjoy one right, you can enjoy both rights. Both the right of assembly, rights of association, and the right of protest. You can enjoy all of them. One does not mean you suspend the other. But look at it. A big shame. A man who has never uttered any word on justice for Albert Ojwang, despite the fact that Albert comes from his county, today is telling the country about burial. A very shameful post here. We will send off our son Albert Ojwang soon. It will be our funeral to mourn and pay last respect to our son, not a forum for politics. Please do not come if you played politics with the sad death of Albert. I say thank you to all those who have stood with the family during this dark time. So a man who has never even talked about justice for Albert is now lecturing people and prescribing to people. And in fact, it is so shameful that at a time people are talking about justice. The magistrates in the court are demanding justice. The people in the streets are demanding justice. The civil society groups are demanding justice. Even some of the politicians are demanding justice. But the man from Homa Bay only thinks about burial. What a shame. And if he believes so, then I think he should attend the funeral. Then the third sign is this. Remember, after the complainant on Albert's case wrote a statement, that affidavit has been kept a top, highly guarded secret, and the public are not really privy to it, despite of other affidavits have been leaked. And it is because the public has been demanding answers, and they have been saying that Lagat must actually face the law.
Kenya iko vibaya sana. Tumefika mahali penye sasa watu wanauawa na polisi. It can never be worse, kwamba wewe ushikwe kwa sababu umepatikana na makosa fulani na ukifika huko Malinya upate maafa kwa sababu polisi wamekuua. Ndio ningependa kuzungumza nyumbani mara ya kwanza tangu mauaji ya watoto ianze. I want to appeal to the president. He must be firm. Asikubali police officer yeyote kuua mshukiwa. Kitu inaitwa extrajudicial killings must end. Mumeona kwa runinga wakati kijana mdogo, mwalimu wetu anaitwa Albert Ojwang kutoka Homa Bay alipobebwa kutoka nyumbani, kutoka kwa mikono ya bibi yake na wazazi, wakapeleka Nairobi, akauawa. Na mtu mwenye anashukiwa ni Deputy Inspector General, yani Mundu namba 2 Mkenya, ndio anashukiwa. Mliona nikisukuma kwamba huyo mtu mpaka atolee kwa ofisi. Ametoka hajatoka? Ndio hiyo ukweli ninazungumza leo, kwamba President Ruto kutokana na ile kujiondoa ya Deputy Inspector of Police, that is not enough. Yeye kujiondoa is not enough. Kuna mambo mawili tunataka tusikie majibu. Kitu ya kwanza ni kwa nini huyu DIG alisikia uchungu mpaka akaua mwalimu. Wanasema alisikia uchungu kwa sababu mwalimu alikuwa ameweka maandishi kwa mtandao. Mr. President, speaking as your senator, I want that DIG Lagat awe arrested today, ndio aambie wa Kenya ni ukweli ama ni uongo yale yenye mwalimu alikuwa ameandika ikamfanya akamuua. Mwalimu alikuwa ameandika kwamba huyu DIG alikuwa amekusanya pesa, anakusanya kupitia kwa mapolice officers, nendeni mtoe huko, mtoe huku, mtoe huko, akafikisha shilingi milioni 364, 364 million. Akaenda Dubai akanunua nyumba huko ya kifahari. Kijana alikuwa ameandika. Tunataka hiyo nyumba DIG ukishitakiwa iuzwe, hiyo pesa irudishiwe wa Kenya, sio pesa yako. That we demand.
Things are bad. And if you want to know they're not interested in anything like justice, you can see the likes of Mutuse already being radicalized, or rather being charged to run a fake narrative that it is regarding Gachagua and the team who are sponsoring those protests simply because they want to overcome. They want to take over power. Too bad. But I believe we can do better. And I want to echo what that magistrate has said. You don't probe not only for justice. I saw one person saying that Albert's father is now full with justice. Akifungua mfuko hii justice. Akifungua huku justice. Akifungua huku justice. You're going to ask, why is the country demanding accountability? Remember, when Albert's life was taken, not any minute did they ask which political party was supporting. They did not ask which is his tribe. It did not matter. It did not matter whether he was a teacher or a lawyer or a blogger. It didn't matter. The atrocity, the extrajudicial, his killers are faceless, shameless, and they don't know who. On this one, it doesn't have any limit. And that is why we cannot take offense that Albert's father was given money by the state. Why? It is actually our taxes. There is nothing that Ruto gave Albert's money. It's our taxes. And so, We cannot take offense because the state used vulnerability. But at the same time, remember the quest for justice is to protect, is to do an overhaul of the system because the system is rotten.